Alright, so now that the Camaro series is done, and I recommend you guys go watch those videos because they're actually pretty good. It's my best work so far. We're moving on to the Mustang platform, specifically the S550 platform, which is the direct competition of the 6th gen Camaro. A little bit of backstory, so the S550 was created after the S197 generation from 2005 to 2014. In 2015, instead of sticking to this thing called retrofuturism, which was essentially making a retro car from the 60s, and turning it into a modern car with the same design language, they decided to opt for creating an S197 that can compete with modern European cars, both on a track and in a straight line. So in 15, they came up with the first iteration of the S550, being this design went on till 2017, so it was a 3-year production run, and then they refreshed the 18, and that went on all the way up to 23, I believe. Yeah, so we're going to be doing the 15 to 17 refresh and seeing where this takes us. So this is the original design. In 18, they refreshed the lower half of it. They gave it new headlights. And as you can tell from the 2014 Mustang GT, the grille was larger and there was a lot more space for the grille. I mean, you guys know about modern cars these days, especially BMW. They have a lot of grille for the car. Now my design enlarges the lower part of the car, the front bumper that is. It creates more airflow to the brakes just like I did with the 6th gen Camaro design. It's wider than the fenders itself. It flows into it. Strangely enough, you would have to see the side of the car, I suppose, in order to get a more of an idea of what's going on. The only thing I've got down here is grills and a DRL. These DRLs are really long, and it just helps with the headlights, just the combo. It does look more Camaro-y. I might be a little biased, but stick with me here. This gets better. The lower grille is roughly about the same size as the top grille. It's not just a big old grille, catfish-looking grille, which a lot of people in 15 were actually, you know, they didn't really like the grille look. It was just too much grille for them. And if you look at the 14, the headlights and the grille were kind of in the same line on the front bumper of the car. And here, everything kind of moves towards it, the headlights that is. And the grille is just kind of like the centerpiece of the design. So I stuck with it. I just made everything else bigger to match with it, essentially. This is the original side profile of the car. There's really not much going on. There's a 5.0 emblem, and that's it. That's really it. I do like the S550 windows, the side windows. In 2014 and before, the S197s, they had split windows. So the rear window wasn't connected to the rest of the door window. In 2015, they decided to give the car a more modern look, like I said, a little break off from the retrofuturism, and they combined it. Just like every other car from the era, the Challenger does it, the Charger does it, the Camaro does it, the Corvette does it, the Mustang does it, and I stuck with it. It looks good. I'm not going to change that. The only thing I did for the side is add a scoop and made it functional for brake cooling. I suppose that would be the best way to do it. I don't like fake stuff. It's just, why have it? I get it's cosmetic, but if you can make it work, make it work. This is the OEM rear. Okay, so in 2018, they figured they would have to change something with the rear, so they did the taillights. They give it more of a jagged look. For me, I feel like these are kind of basic, only because I'm used to them and everybody else. It's 2024, this car's been out forever, so it's pretty easy to take it for granted. This was actually really nice compared to the retro look of the 2014s. It gave it more of a refresh of itself. People were just kind of tired of it. The S197s, they had small changes over time that gave the car, a better look, and people got, they didn't get used to the same thing. With this, it's the same concept. The 2014 taillights, they didn't have depth. These taillights had depth. There was angles between every sequential light. It made it look more three-dimensional. It made it look a lot more modern. And that's the beauty of these taillights. And I decided not to refrain from doing that again because I just think for the time, we're going to try to stick to 15 and what people would have thought. I think this looks good. My biggest thing, I just think that the deck blade just doesn't have enough going on. There's a lot of negative space with just the GT badge. So I figured add the Mustang horse and put the GT badge on the side so that there's at least a little bit more going on in the rear and more for people to look at than just a standard deck blade, you know. Quad tips. Simplified the rear bumper a little bit, less angles, just to make it more simplistic. As we know, for every Mustang, especially in the ones in the 60s, there was a line going through the side of the car and it made its way to the rear. I decided to extend that line. So as you can see on the gas cap, there is a body line that matches with the door line. I extended that all the way back to the rear. And where that body line touches the taillights form an arrow towards it, insinuating that's where the start of the line begins. And it makes its way across the car. Just something that flows with the entire body of the car. I figured that way people can just pick up on the design language, and it's just more pleasing to the eye, in my opinion. I also added a little ducktail on the back. These cars are muscle cars. It just doesn't look right to have a car, at least a performance car that looks like it's supposed to be a performance car, and it just not have anything on the rear. You know, I mean, a little ducktail, something to spice it up, is completely necessary. And I just think from factory you should at least put a ducktail on these cars. Like, it doesn't have to be an expensive one, just something simple. I'm looking at you, Chevy, because some of your Camaros be coming out a little too basic. Yeah, that's episode 1 of my 4-part Mustang series. Stay tuned. We got a refresh 18 to 23, a Shelby GT350, and a Shelby GT500 to draw. So I hope you guys stick around to check it out. Like and subscribe. Make sure to comment if you guys like it. And if there's anything you think I should do that you guys maybe didn't like on the car, let me know. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.